Hello, my name is Lance Smith from Makeovers Township, New Jersey. We've been thinking about this project for quite some time, I think within the last 15 years. We've been currently in this residence for 19 years, and we had come across Home Trimworks via social media. And we did some due diligence in terms of some of the projects that were identified and decided that one day we would certainly like to execute a project using Home Trimworks. For this part of the project, Trimworks done a number of things. What we've done is we asked them to design and renovate the entire atrium. That included the surroundings of the door. They did plenty of woodwork around the surroundings of the door up to the second floor. They totally redesigned the staircase, put wood stairs on the staircase, as well as some iron spindles, and replaced all of the components of the staircase to designer wood styles. In addition to that, they put wainscoting throughout the entire atrium and entryway, which certainly enhanced the look of all of the woodwork that they put around the doors and the entryway of our dining area as well, our formal dining area as well. The initial contact with Home Trimworks was pretty streamless. It was a very efficient process, an informative process, a process in which allowed us to navigate some of their designing schematics and processes, et cetera, and also get a full scope of what the process was going to look like throughout the project. So it was pretty comprehensive in terms of our first contact with Home Trimworks. Our design process with Trimworks began with Mark, the designer. Our initial contact with Mark began with probably an hour consultation in which he walked my wife and I through the whole design concept and actually educated us through the whole process in terms of what we could possibly do with some of the vision that we had for the house. Mark was, and I'll use the term, very precision in terms of his ability to articulate what Home Trimworks could do and could not do, and that allowed us an entryway in terms of some of the design concepts. We were very pleased with the whole process and literally was able to complete this within an hour time. He knew intuitively what we were looking for and actually presented some other concepts for us in terms of the project. The virtual design process with Mark, again, was very streamless. We began through a virtual process in which he met with my wife and I virtually. And the first phase of it was exactly, what do you guys envision for the process? So we began to show him and give him some ideas about our style. We're very traditional in our style. We showed him some pictures of our home, which is a classic colonial style home here in Makeovers Township. And from that point, he gave us some suggestions and also presented to us some other projects with similar styles in which we could take some of those concepts and apply them to our project here. I began to immediately send him pictures of the areas in which we wanted to modify in terms of renovation and get woodwork done. And him and I went back and forth maybe over a 3-day period in terms of the angles that we took of the house and the areas in which we wanted to get modified. But ultimately, it ended up him sending us some concepts that we certainly agreed to and finalized with that process. The drawings presented by Mark, the designer, were very comprehensive. It allowed my wife and I to actually see the project preemptively prior to the work. He presented those concepts to us within a matter of less than a day after our virtual meeting. And he showed us exactly where everything was going to be in terms of the woodwork. In addition to that, he showed us all of the schematics in terms of the style of wooding, the types of wood, colors, and the list goes on. It was a very, very comprehensive process. So our experience with Valora, the scheduler, again, was very comprehensive. We had a special situation because we were getting a custom door built, and the work through Trimwork, Home Trimwork, could not be completed until that custom door was put into place. So we worked very methodically with Valora in terms of scheduling, in addition to the scheduling and delivery of all of the supplies. It took roughly 3 months for our custom door to be installed, created and installed, and Valora actually walked us through the whole process in terms of what things would look like after the installation. When the door was installed, we called Valora, and she immediately began to schedule us in for delivery of all of the material, and also schedule us in for the construction of the project. Buck's Lumber, upon delivery, again, was a very pleasant experience. I actually developed a system in which, because I work for the government, I developed a system in which I was able to virtually open my garage door. And they actually installed everything in my garage very neatly, and then contacted me right after the installation of all of the material in my garage, and then I was able to close the garage. So it worked out very well because I wasn't able to take off on the day that delivery of the material had taken place. Pavo, the carpenter, was an extremely wonderful experience. Pavo was a very organized and is a very organized person and carpenter. We met with Pavo every single day. Given the fact that we weren't able to take off and work was done essentially without us being home, Pavo would email me and text me every morning to let me know what time he would be here. He would typically come to start the work around 8 a.m. in the morning, 8:30 a.m. in the morning, and then he would end roughly around 4:30 p.m. every day. He did this consecutively for 2 weeks. And as we would come home, he would give us a sort of a synopsis on what took place on that day. He would walk us around the house and show us the detail work of the wood construct. And he was extremely comprehensive, methodical, and certainly precision-like in terms of his ability to articulate the work that he was doing. He kept us lockstep in terms of every step that he was taking, and also gave us time frames in terms of when each portion of the project would be completed. Working with Pavo, the carpenter, it again was a wonderful experience, and he kept the house very clean. We were able to work out an area in which was encapsulated strictly for his equipment. He stuck to that process, and then after every day, he would vacuum all of the dust. He would do all of his sawing and all of the cutting on the outside, as well as if it were raining, he would do some of it in the garage. But after every day, he would clean everything up. He would vacuum all of the dust, and it was as though he was never here. Andre the painter, we utilized the same process that we did with the carpenter, Pavo. Andre would come every single day. And he would start his day roughly around 8 a.m., 8:30. He would text us and let us know that he was coming. I would allow him entry into either the garage or the front door remotely. And we would talk virtually in cases of ambiguity with regards to color scheme, etc. He made some great suggestions in terms of the wainscoting color and the durability of the paint that he was going to choose for the painting. And he also walked us through the process in terms of the time frame in terms of the painting, etc. Again, Andre was very helpful and very comprehensive. And I will say this, and I keep using this term because I think it's appropriate to the entire project, but I would use the term precision. If I were to sum up his work, I would sum it up as precision. When you look at his painting, it is just extraordinarily detailed and precision. As a matter of fact, I tried to get him on one area of the house and pointed out a problem. He says, no, and he showed me and walked me through the precision part of it. So he was very, very good, very comprehensive, and certainly precise in terms of his ability to paint in the house. So Andre, during the process of staining, actually walked my wife and I through this step by step. He took actually two oak boards and he began to stain both of those oak boards, and then began to apply the stain to those boards and allow my wife and I to see it after it was dried, and then applied it and tried to match the existing floor color the best way he possibly could. And then he allowed my wife and I to decide the stain that was going to go on the steps, and also the landing of the steps that were recently that were built and designed by Pablo. So ultimately, we got to the best color that we could possibly get in terms of matching the floor with the steps. And he even walked us through how many times he was going to stain the floor and how many times he was actually going to put a coating over the floor, and gave us the options of how many coatings we would want on the floor because of the ability to walk on the floor without slipping, etc. We have had other contractors in our home. I will say we haven't had other contractors in our home independently without us being here, but we did execute that strategy with Home Trimworks. And that was very important to us. My wife, both her and I work, and we needed to make sure that we were working with a company that we can trust to be here independently. So that experience went very, very thoroughly, and we worked through it with Home Trimworks in terms of having the guys here while we were not here, and it was pretty comprehensive, a pretty comprehensive experience. Yes, after the work and the project was done, we invited family members over, my mother-in-law and a few others, and they were extremely impressed with the work. As a matter of fact, the house is now called the White House. This is the nickname that has been given to the house as a result of some of the work, the precision woodwork that has been done. And we're just very excited about it. This is, again, phase 1. So we're looking forward to what phase 2 and phase 3 will be with Home Trimworks. I would certainly recommend Home Trimworks to others, and as a matter of fact, we already have. So you should be getting a knock on your door from a few friends of ours.